From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN Noon News.
Good afternoon and welcome to your MTN Noon News for this Thursday. I'm Charlie Klepps. Let's get right to our top story. After hours of overnight discussion, the U.S. Senate passed President Trump's request to rescind $9 billion in foreign aid and public broadcasting funding. Another vote-a-rama hit the Senate floor last night. Now the bill is on its way back to the House ahead of a Friday deadline. In a 51-48 vote, 3 Republicans joined Democrats in opposing the package, with most of the cuts aimed at foreign aid programs. More than $1 billion would impact public broadcasters as well. The president and CEO of NPR saying that she worries rural communities that rely on their local radio stations could be hurt the most. Earlier this week, the measure narrowly advanced in the Senate, with Vice President J.D. Vance casting the tie-breaking vote. It's a debate that has many in local public media watching closely. MTN's Haley Monaco has more on how the happenings in Washington, D.C. could have a great effect on the future of Montana airwaves.
County officials are asking state
a familiar voice
for Yellowstone Public Radio
and
News.
face
I'm
on our
Jackie
channel.
Coffin. Youth political organizers. We provide a wide breadth of programming to a lot of different people in different places.
Now a moving force with Yellowstone Public Radio.
The whole mission of public broadcasting is to be no barrier access to information and education for everybody.
Jackie Coffin, the news director of YPR, is cautiously watching Senate debate cuts to public broadcasting.
We get about 8% of our total operating budget from the Corporation of Public Broadcasting, which is in the form of community service grants.
Out of Yellowstone Public Radio's $2.2 million annual operating budget, if this passes, it would cut $270,000 from the nonprofit's yearly budget.
That money largely for our station is used for licensing of programs, buying programming content from a variety of sources around the world. It's stressful. Of course, it's stressful.
Once they got into power, they would...
Now, whatever the decision is, and if Congress decides to pass the budget cuts, Coffin says Yellowstone Public Radio will continue to stay on air, providing news to the 34 counties across 2 states.
Yellowstone Public Radio started in 1972. It was a one-office operation that grew quickly across the years with the help of invested community members like Joe Sample, who really helped launch it.
It's that community they will turn to if funding is cut.
Our goal would be first to reach out to people who support us already or are interested in supporting us.
While YPR may not feel the brunt of the cuts, other public medias will.
We will not leave our communities, but there are other stations, other states, other communities whose stations take much larger percents of their operating budget from the CPB. If public media went away, that's vital information, educational programming that people rely on without paywalls through diverse areas, rural communities, that would go away too.
For now, they just have to watch and wait.
This year will be one of change for Yellowstone Public Radio regardless of our funding situation. We are looking at new ways of reaching our audience, new ways to do the news that's meaningful.
In Billings, Haley Monaco, MTN News.
I do hope everybody's having a great Thursday. A lot of us enjoying lots of sunshine. Take a look across the Horn here at State Capitol Helena. Beautiful blue skies, looking just as good there in Great Falls. We are seeing a little bit of haze. More on that in just a second. Bozeman looking fantastic. Some haze there in Billings as well, but our fair share of sunshine. But we got some clouds over in Miles City, eastern side of the state, where we do have a chance of seeing some severe storms later this afternoon into the evening. We'll tell you more about that in just a bit, but you can see a lot of sunshine for most with temperatures in the 70s. We do have some 60s and 70s over there across eastern Montana. Cloud cover keeping the temperatures down just a bit. We are getting warmer, 90s in the forecast for some. Do we have a lot of rain though? We'll have details coming up.
Now time for today's leading look as we follow some of the other stories making headlines. Earlier this week, it was all hands on deck from the Missoula Police Department as they responded to a shooting that sent one man to the hospital with multiple gunshot wounds. Investigators say it happened here early Wednesday morning on the 2000 block of Cooper Street, just off of North Russell Street. We know now that 27-year-old Joseph Manchester was remanded to the Missoula County Detention Facility on preliminary charges, including assault with a weapon heroin and having drugs. The victim, a 30-year-old man, received life-saving care at the scene, with police saying he had been shot in the torso several times. Officers say at this time all people involved are accounted for and there's no further threat to the public. A Hamilton man is behind bars today after a deadly shooting south of town Tuesday. Ravalli County Sheriff Steve Holton says 55-year-old Scott Paul Paratus of Hamilton was arrested for deliberate homicide. The victim has been identified as 52-year-old David Earl Connors from Simi Valley, California. Investigators are still working the case but say this appears to be an isolated incident. Details surrounding the shooting have not been released, and we will continue to update this story as we learn more. And in Gallatin County, the Bozeman City Commission voted to adopt the pride flag as an official flag of the city this week. The pride flag can be seen once again flying outside of Bozeman City Hall after state legislation forced it to come down in May. After a long night of public comment and discussion, the pride flag was adopted in a 4-1 vote, with Commissioner Fisher voting no, citing concerns over division in the community. Missoula and Butte have adopted similar proposals in response to House Bill 819. This decision does not rescind the current city flag, which dates back to the 60s, but rather allows the pride flag to also be flown. Health officials have confirmed the first case of measles in Cascade County. According to the Cascade City County Health Department, the case occurred in an adult who reportedly is vaccinated. The health department says the individual does not know where the exposure to the virus came from, but the patient is isolated at home. The health department has listed potential public exposure points and times on its website. The Montana Department of Public Health and Human Services says there have been 26 reported measles cases across 5 counties, with 2 hospitalizations since the first cases were reported in April. A Flathead Valley man shot and killed a grizzly bear after it charged him at his home east of Kalispell. The man heard noise outside and when he went to investigate, discovered the grizzly getting into his chicken coop. As the bear charged him, he shot and killed it, and the man was not injured in the incident. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service is investigating the incident. The USFWS is asking anyone experiencing bear conflicts to call them at 406-444-2535. In rural Montana, some community members have put the blame for small schools' enrollment challenges on a new state law that took effect last year. But that may be only part of the story. MTN's Jonathan Ambarian hears from a legislator behind the law and has a closer look at what it actually did.
In 2023, the Montana legislature passed House Bill 203. It made it easier for parents to move students to a public school outside the district they live in. Supporters said it was a way to increase educational choice, but some opponents said it put Montana's smallest school districts at a big disadvantage. Representative David Beatty, a Republican from Hamilton, sponsored HB 203. He says before it was up to each district whether to allow students in their area to transfer to other districts, and he wanted a more consistent statewide policy. The bill also required districts to pay tuition to the district where their residents are now attending school.
The taxpayers within the school district where a child resides has an obligation to pay for part of that education.
In 2024, the Melrose School District in Silver Bow County went into non-operational status. In an open letter, district leaders specifically pointed to HB 203, saying it had contributed to students moving to other neighboring districts. I asked Beatty about arguments like that.
At the end of the day, I reject the idea that because I have a small district, in order to preserve that district itself, I'm going to deny a parent the opportunity to send their child where that child can best be educated.
One thing that is clear, there's been a trend of small rural schools dealing with low enrollment even before the passage of HB 203. Since 2016, the Montana Office of Public Instruction reports 15 rural school districts across the state have spent time in non-operational status, and 8 have closed permanently. As we showed you last month, the most recent school district to close its doors for good was Gold Creek in Powell County. It first went non-operational back in 2022.
I think it takes away part of our identity as a community.
Beatty says he thinks this trend has more to do with changing population patterns and changes in education than with his bill.
Well, I think parents have different expectations of what they want their children to do now, too. And once again, I think we should honor parents' preferences on this.
During this year's legislative session, lawmakers passed another of Beatty's bills, this one reducing the tuition that districts have to pay when a student moves to another district. Beatty believes that will reduce some of the pressures that people are concerned about. In Helena, Jonathan Ambarian, MTN News.